Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Jazz of the Spaz reads How to Obtain a Reverse Harem in Naruto. I am so sorry to leave you guys hanging the way I have. A lot of stuff has come up in life like it so usually does. But hopefully we can get on track, and I'll be updating every Tuesday because that's for sure going to be my day off at work. So hopefully that'll work out. And I really just want to say thank you to Dark Petal 16 for being such a kind and encouraging person. And really, not only was it her stories that made me want to do or ask her permission to read her stories, it's just the fact that she is so laid back and kind and just generally an awesome person. So thank you, Dark Petal. Thank you. Anyways, hopefully we can actually get this done. Today is chapter 3, and it's called Pinch Pinch. Let's get right into it. He's late, Naruto grumbled petulantly. The boy peered sullenly at the front door of the classroom. His words made me glance up briefly from one of my texts. I had planned for Kakashi's lateness perfectly and brought an abundance of medical textbooks. I was still sorting through Sakura's memories, and thank God I started getting her memories on perfect chakra control, and I found that it was largely used like a muscle memory, ergo, not a lot of thought process on my own part, so I didn't understand a lot of the jargon used in the text. As a result, I had to lug around even more books than otherwise necessary to look up a certain word, phrase, or reference. I couldn't quite carry all of those books on my own, so I had to purchase a sturdy black backpack. Why Sakura did not own one was beyond me. Because I was perfectly entertained and knew in advance that the man would be late, I wasn't bothered in the slightest bit like Naruto, or even broody Sasuke. Yep, I agreed. In response, Naruto grabbed an eraser and began setting up his prank. I quirked an eyebrow at him. It's your own fault if you get in trouble. A Jonin isn't going to fall for something as stupid as that, Sasuke declared quietly. You'd be amazed, I said sagely, nodding my head in mock wisdom. With timing that only existed in that universe, as soon as I said that, Kakashi entered the room, and the eraser landed on his head with a plop. Naruto burst out into laughter, while I giggled in glee at finally seeing Kakashi in person, and Sasuke stared at him in annoyance. Kakashi slowly picked up the eraser and looked it over before saying, How should I say this? My first impression of you all? You're idiots. I pouted. Don't lump me in with duck ass. I folded my hands neatly into my lap, taking a moment to admire the beauty that was Kakashi Hatake. He was every bit as delicious to look at as he was in the anime manga, and now that I knew what laid underneath that mask, well, I had a very active imagination. A perverted giggle escaped my lips, and Kakashi gave me a mildly concerned look. I will squeeze that ass when you least expect it, Kakashi-sensei, I thought passionately. Jiraiya has nothing on my level of perviness. A warm breeze passed through us on the roof of the academy. The leaves rustled behind us, creating a very relaxing atmosphere. A comfortable, for me at least, silence settled between the four of us until Kakashi was the first to break it. First off, let me have you guys introduce yourselves. What would you have us say? Naruto asked, frowning. Sunshine personified had eagerly sat next to me on my right, his shoulder bumping against my own. Things like your likes, dislikes, dreams, and hobbies, or something like that. Naruto's brow furrowed, and he started rocking back and forth. Then why don't you start with yourself, sensei? Kakashi lazily pointed towards himself, putting on an air of mild surprise. Me? Well, my name is Hatake Kakashi. I don't feel like telling you guys about my likes and dislikes. I've never really thought about my future or dream. As for my hobbies, I have many. Have you considered modeling? I asked seriously. Kakashi scratched the back of his head. You know, you're not the first one to ask me about that. I'm not surprised, I responded honestly, then smiled mischievously. I bet you have a cute little beauty mark under that mask of yours. I can practically see it now. Kakashi chuckled, although I thought it might have been a bit forced. Anyway, it's your guys' turn now. Why don't... Me! Naruto exclaimed happily. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. I like cup ramen, but I like ramen at Ichiraku that Iruka-sensei buys for me even more. I hate the 3 minutes I have to wait to boil up the ramen. My hobby is to eat and compare ramen, and my dream is to become greater than all of the Hokages. I'm going to make all the villagers recognize my existence. Kakashi nodded his head, unsurprised by Naruto's introduction. All right, little miss is next. I giggled. You can call me Sakura, sensei. Sakura, then, Kakashi corrected, awarding me with his trademark smile. I almost swooned before I reminded myself that Kasami was officially real in that world, and I was his fangirl first. Since we're going before Sasuke, you thinking what I'm thinking? Absolutely. We are so trolling him. My likes are reading and I suppose now training, I began slowly, trying to keep a gleeful smirk off my face. I dislike unoriginal posers. My hobby is to admire the beauty that has been placed in this world, as well as to study to become a medical kunoichi. Also, I have one goal that I have no intention to leave as a mere dream, to completely ruin a certain man. Kakashi remained silent for several moments, likely surprised by my introduction. I did my best to school my features into an utterly serious face, but it was a struggle. Naruto seemed genuinely caught off guard by what I had said, and I didn't even care to look over at Sasuke. Kakashi clapped his hands. All right, next up is you, Broody. Sasuke spoke without hesitation. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. There are many things I hate and not a lot I like. Also, I have an ambition that I have no intention to leave as a dream. The revival of my clan, and to kill a certain man. Hey, that sounds like what I just said, I exclaimed, feigning shock. Way to be original, Sasuke, Naruto mocked. Sasuke ignored us. Silly duck ass. Whatever, trolling Sasuke was a success, so I'm happy. All right, Kakashi began. The three of you are very distinctive and interesting. We'll have a mission tomorrow. First, we'll do what only the four of us can do. A very inappropriate image crossed my mind, and I giggled. What is it? Naruto asked eagerly, leaning forward and practically vibrating with excitement. Survival training. Survival training? I smirked. Oh? Out of 27 graduates, only 9 pass and become genin. 18 will be sent back to the academy. So in turn, a roughly 66% dropout rate, Kakashi explained, doing his best to appear very intimidating and ominous. Of course, that didn't work on me. I still remembered seeing the man turn 50 shades of red, reading Icha out loud to help decipher Jiraiya's message. Not to mention, I knew for a fact that the man treated his summons like family. Each had their own bowl, and he regularly groomed them. It was hard to find a man like Kakashi intimidating with all that knowledge, and so much more. Still, I had to keep in mind that I was a fresh academy student, and I should have been... fuck it. I'm so going to pinch those cheeks, I cooed. What? Kakashi asked, completely off guard. Did I say that out loud? Pretend you heard nothing, I insisted, then started to whistle innocently. The ex-Anbu captain distinctly scooted away from a little girl with pink hair. That only heightened my amusement, of course. It was hard to focus on what else Kakashi talked about because all I could think about was how shy and adorable the supposed badass was when it came to anything perverse. Before I knew it, Kakashi was gone, Sasuke left in an awfully big hurry, and Naruto was nervously looking over at me. I gave a woeful sigh before casting a glance over at my future teammate. Want to go get that ramen now? Naruto's nervousness faded away, and he bounced up and down. Yeah! I'll pay for whatever you want, Sakura-chan! Drop the chan, you adorable boy, I teased. We're friends now, so let's be on a first-name basis. If you pay for our food this time, I'll pay for next time. Next time? Naruto squeaked, his face illuminating with sheer happiness. Yep, so lead the way. Yara! Lunch with Naruto went about as one would expect it to go. The ball of radiance was beyond happy and merrily chattered away about various and unimportant things. It felt relaxing and nice, and I was already comfortable around his presence. I was dead set on becoming Naruto's first best friend because clearly Sasuke did not deserve that right. After I bid my companion farewell, I lugged my backpack across the village to my next destination. I took the back roads instead of the main street, wanting to experience the village through my own eyes instead of Sakura's memories. There were moments where two different memories collided, such as there was a dessert shop at a corner that used to be a pawn shop, and Sakura had memories of both of them in that area, and it was hard to tell which one was the more recent one until I actually had to go there in person to see for myself. The actual journey took well over an hour, and my shoulders ached something fierce from lugging the heavy backpack around. It was with great relief that I approached the Yamanaka's compound. With Sakura's memories as my guide, I deftly maneuvered through the bustling area until I reached Ino's front door. I knocked politely on the door, and a solid minute passed by before Ino opened the door. I grinned at her. "Hey, pretty lady." Ino's grin lit up her face. "Hey, did your team sensei finally show up?" "Yeah," I answered, thinking back to my wonderful first meeting with the man who had the world's greatest ass. "I even got Kakashi as my sensei, the one with the perfect butt." Ino squealed. "That's amazing. I'm so jealous. Our sensei, Asuma, seems so lazy. I'm afraid he'll be as bad as Shikamaru." "You never know," I responded, giving her a sympathetic pat. "Do you think you could do me a favor, though?" "What do you need?" Ino asked. "Can you cut my hair? My parents are gone on vacation, and you know how Kachan always cut my hair before." Ino gasped, her hands flying up to her mouth in disbelief. Are you serious? Everyone knows Sasuke-kun only likes girls with long hair." "I was serious about letting you have him," I told her. "I'm done with him. There are better fish in the sea for me." "Wow," Ino uttered, speechless for almost an entire minute before she recovered, looking positively beside herself with smug glee. "I'm really glad to hear you say that. Come on inside, then, and let me work my magic." I gave her a mock bow. "Thank you, my lady. While you're here, you should join us for dinner. I'm sure Kachan will be happy to see you again." "I will never say no to free food," I told her, perfectly serious. When morning came the following day, I woke up a bit earlier than I normally would have in order to finish reading a text I had started last night. I was nearly finished with my first read-through of the first textbook I got. I would go back to it when I had finished it and create notes in a separate thick scroll I had bought. Why would I ever use notebooks again when I could use scrolls? Only after I had finished with my, surprisingly, meticulous notes would I return the first book I had checked out. I planned on repeating the process for every how-to medical textbook I could get my hands on. Once I had enough knowledge of the basics, I felt confident enough that I could totally try it out on my own. Screw trying it on fish or whatever. I had my own personal Uzumaki with a cubia to help regenerate to boot. Best of all, I could bribe him with food. Completely fair trade. I finished reading around 6 and started getting ready for the day. With much glee, I slipped on the outfit I had bought yesterday. It wasn't extravagant by any means. It was simple, just like me. Teehee. I bought black baggy pants that were thick enough not to tear from the trials I would inevitably put them through as a kunoichi. The pockets were deep enough that I could stuff a few mini scrolls in each of them. Sadly, I did not have enough money to buy storage scrolls yet. And the owner was kind enough to provide the fabric and threads required to mend the pants. Not that I knew how to stitch yet or anything. Since I want medical training, though, that would have to be remedied pretty quick. Probably. I'll definitely get around to it. Next was a long, durable red hoodie. The hoodie's length went down to a little above my knees, but the sleeve length and torso fit me perfectly. With the hoodie, I bought some alternating red and white tank tops to wear underneath in case I got too hot during a training session. Supposedly, Kunoichi and Shinobi could use their chakra to regulate their body heat, but that was a skill out of my reach for the time being. I also simply could not resist getting some badass-looking black gloves with a metal back and a matching pair of standard badass-looking Shinobi black boots. All I needed was some sunglasses to put on any time I wanted to make a pun, and I was golden. Time to head out then, I thought to myself. I hefted my ridiculously heavy backpack over my shoulders, way too heavy to carry that shit on one shoulder, and headed out the front door. I paused. Where in the name of Madara's sexiness are the training grounds?